Welcome to the Success Fitness Podcast. I am your host, Christian Evans. This podcast is for adults who want to achieve success in their fitness journey. And our special guest today, Jabari Nelson, will help us do just that once he shares how he lost 175 pounds, not once, but twice, hailing from New Jersey. Welcome to the Success Fitness Podcast, Jabari Nelson. How you doing today?
I'm great, Chris. Thank you so much for having me, man. I appreciate it. Glad to be here.
No problem. 175 pounds twice. I don't know where to begin, but let's go with the first time. So how did that happen?
The first time, it's as crazy as it sounds, it just kind of happened. Always played football my whole life. Graduated high school, I was about 390 pounds. Went off to play college football, and just in doing so, preparing to be a college football player, I had told myself I wanted to lose a little bit of weight. So I wound up losing maybe 50 pounds.
Gotcha.
But then after football season, I started playing basketball every day at the YMCA around the university. And always worked out, always lifted weights because of football. Just always had an admiration for it. I had bodybuilders hanging on my walls as a teenager. But it was like once I started to understand nutrition and just, I was probably like 18, 19 years old and just playing basketball, I lost like 100 pounds. Gotcha. And from that, it just kind of led to, let's just try to, stay in shape, yada, yada, yada. The first time that I did it, it's not like, that's not the important time to me. Because I think that was more so just, there was no intention behind it. It was honestly just.
And how old were you around that time?
World. I want to say 19, 20 years old.
Gotcha. Yeah, still young, still got that vibrance, that bounce, that metabolism. And how tall are you?
6 foot.
6 foot. Okay, I got you. So you was about, you say over 300. You say 390? Did you say 390?
Yeah, I graduated.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. 390, 600 pounds. I said 600 pounds. 390, 6 foot tall. I'm sorry, 6 foot tall. And you're playing collegiate ball. And then you kind of switched over to basketball. What was that switch like in regards to physical demanding? Now, were you just playing basketball kind of on the side, or did you actually play collegiate basketball just as well?
No, this was just recreational at our local YMCA. Like I said, there really wasn't any intention behind it. It was kind of just like, yo, I'm watching what I'm eating and let's go play some ball. But next thing you know, we're playing ball for if we got out of school and there's no football practice, so now I'm literally playing basketball for 7 hours in a day.
Yeah, just staying active.
Just being in the gym.
Energy. Yeah. Those were the days. When I remember 19 and just playing basketball from sun up to sundown. You go to the court and hey, got next. And the thing was, you didn't want to sit down. You didn't want to sit down at all. And it's like we kept it running. And I remember kind of like that phase where it's like, you're out of high school. I think I'm not sure what my weight was when I graduated high school, but I do remember, trying to play a little bit of basketball, kind of like during that summer, because I graduated in May of 2000 and I went off to college. Went to DeVry literally that June. You know what I mean? So I didn't have that much time to kind of enjoy, time off. It was immediately to school, but maybe next summer, you know what I'm saying? And just always trying to just stay busy. And in basketball, you got to have your legs. I think about any sport, but lifting weights and weight training did help me a lot, and I'm like, what? I'm not jumping as high as I feel like I can for that rebound or, enduring. And it's like, okay, now you work on legs a little bit more. You learn different basketball or let's say athletic weight training techniques. And like you said, it's like, okay, that kind of put me on the trajectory since I'm moving around so much to drop that weight. So you had dropped, let's say 100 pounds. How did you feel on the court when you were playing as you were losing weight, and I guess once you hit that 100-pound mark,
Oh yeah,
what
it
could you
definitely.
best describe your game at that time?
Oh, I mean,
Before I run, I use my secret weapon to maximize my performance, the Breather Fit. Not only does the Breather Fit strengthen my lung capacity, it helps accelerate recovery from my workouts. All it takes is 10 breaths for 2 sets to maximize performance before my morning runs. Use my code FITBREATHE at checkout to get 20% off. With Breather Fit, you work hard, but breathe easy.
the thing is that basketball wasn't. It was just working out. So my game, I was just more, I just was more energetic.
Gotcha.
Just
Gotcha.
hustle. 6 foot playing basketball recreationally or not is still not ideal height for that game. So
True.
again,
Yeah.
it wasn't. This was something to do, and then ironically, when I transferred schools for football. Originally was at Syracuse and then wound up going to a school in Jersey. I was recruited from this particular college. They thought they were getting a nose tackle, which was somebody that was 350 pounds. But when I arrived on campus, I was 220 pounds.
Oh, wow.
So
okay.
The coaching staff for the football team, it was almost like, wait a second, this is not what film shows us, like what's going on. And
yeah.
So that was a whole transition in itself, because it was like I played one particular position my whole life and I lost all this weight. So we had to find a new position. And,
where did they move you to? What position did they move you to?
I wound up playing defensive end because I had to convince them. They wanted me to play running back. They wanted me to play tight end. They wanted me to play safety. And I'm like, listen, I know that I've lost the girth, but I still have a lineman mentality.
Right.
So please, like, allow me to try something different. And they were like, all right, we'll try you at defensive end. And in the beginning, it was rough. Any transition is rough, but I wound up being an All-American there. We almost won the national championship.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Mm-hmm.
And then that leads into, again, I gained all the way back.
Okay, so this is like post college. Is this post college or post, let's say, athletic football? So what led to that weight gain? Was it just sedentary? Was it life? Okay, you're out of college, no sports. Now I gotta, get a job, or what may have you? Was it that, or was it something else, going on in your life?
I think it was a combination of a couple of things. I think that majority of athletes, I'll start here. I think a lot of young athletes, especially young African-American athletes, and I don't even like using that term, to be honest. I don't even like saying black, because we just don't really necessarily know what we are. We were named that upon arrival. So I don't really, I'll just say that.
Foundational Black Americans. That's,
there you go.
That's a great way to
I'll
identify
rock with that.
it. Yeah, FBA. Yeah.
When you don't necessarily know who you are away from chosen sport, when those lights go off and that crowd is not cheering anymore, and you got to really sit with yourself, and you're young, you are a young man. It is very different. That's a very difficult transition. So for me, not making it to the league, school being done, moving back home, all types of things. I guess you could say, like I used to always say, it was depression, but I'm very mindful with that now because of just certain life lessons. And I want to give more respect to those that honestly have a chemical imbalance and are dealing with real life depressive symptoms. So I think for me, and I'll get into this later, I no longer want to attribute anything, weight gain, weight loss, to any external circumstance.
Gotcha.
Honestly, the weight gain just came from my own personal perception of reality, of what life was not presenting. And it's just as simple as saying, like, you give up. You have a moment of you literally give up.
Yeah, for sure. Because it's like, what else do I have if this is predominantly all you know, and all you know that brought you joy, brought you happiness, brought you some type of structure, to kind of keep you on the straight and narrow, meaning from a, physical attribution, like you said, I'm constantly being active. I take my craft seriously. And part of taking my craft seriously, I have to, be in this certain type of shape because my body demands this, or this sport demands this from my body physically. So everything's in line. And on top of that, you have the cheers and the roar of the crowd. Who doesn't want that? Who wouldn't want that? And once that's all taken away, now it's okay. What's my purpose? And how you interpret that. And I guess I can say, almost kind of counteracting what you're saying, but it's like, it's okay to be down, now that you can process things later on in life. As a young man, it's like, I don't know what's really going on, but like you said, it's like, I can say I was down now just for time's sake or just to put a label on something. But from a more introspective standpoint, it's how I interpreted life and, the outside things at that time, at that age. It's like, what else do I do? And you just sulk, and you sulk. So in that, you begin to, let's say, not focus so much on you, not focus so much on your nutrition that kept you in that good shape. What were some of the things that you were eating that you can recall that caused that weight gain?
Oh man, bro. That's a great question. I remember it was bad. At this particular moment, it was bad. I remember just some days getting up and I would have McDonald's for breakfast.
Yeah.
I would probably have like White Castle for lunch, and then I would probably have like a Wendy's for dinner.
Yeah.
Like I was, and that's what I mean. Self-care. Like I don't think a lot of men, maybe now in this day and age, but a lot of men, especially, you said you graduated in 2000, so I graduated in 99. So a lot of my OGs, a lot of your OGs, they weren't really talking to me about self-care.
Yeah, it's like, get out of here with that madness. And I have to tell people that. I have to tell people that, like, nowadays, it's like, yeah, it's kind of okay now, because certain, I don't want to downplay it by just saying it. But again, you class of 99, class of 2000, this is just how we were raised. I don't even want to call it abusive. It's just like, shut up. Some things you just don't talk about. And I don't necessarily think, at least how I was raised, that it was so harmful to a point to where I become detrimental to some people, to other people. Nowadays it's kind of like with the podcast, and everybody has a mind, right? Don't get me wrong, but it's like this is overly, I would almost call it overly expression to what you're feeling, and I'm not sure if people have processed these feelings by themselves, and then they end up saying and spewing out more hurtful things to other people by just venting. It's like, no, just process that. So again, you class of 99, class of 2000, like you said, your OGs, my OGs, it's like, no, you pretty much just, you deal with it, right? And it's like, okay, I'm dealing with it through playing basketball or football or maybe lifting weights. It was just a different time, you understand, as far as back then, on how to, let's say, process whatever was going on. So like, I completely resonate with you, in that regards.
That's the interesting part, is that you said something that resonated with me just now. You said, I don't think I was raised to where I would have really done any harm to anyone else. And I agree with my upbringing as well. However, what I wasn't realizing is that there was a lot of harm being done to me.
Right. Yeah.
And I think that's what, when I go back to even the OG, like a lot of my uncles and things like that would take me to the gym, that was self-care.
Yeah.
It's just that their verbiage was not conducive to saying that, because that was not, it was all self-care. The conversations that we would have, the this, the that, but so it's just interesting now when you look back and you're like, no, I was receiving some of this before. It's just that that's not how we described it. So I think a lot of men have been doing self-care on the vessel for years, because especially our generation, because we from the Flex magazine era and the Muscle and Fitness, and I used to watch Flex magazine at 5 o'clock in the morning on ESPN with Sean Ray and Kevin Levrone. Like this was my life. So
I had to stop watching ESPN once they start putting poker on there. I'm like, this is not sport, man. This is you remember that? You like
I played a lot of poker too. Poker helped me.
I didn't understand it. I'm like, this is ESPN. Just do it on ESPN 3 or something. I'm like, something is going. It's crazy. You know, y'all substituting basketball highlights for poker. You know what I mean?
I can't even front. I used to watch it. I played a great deal.
Yeah, that's cool.
I fell in love.
That's cool, but don't put it on ESPN, man. I'm trying to see a Vince Carter highlight. I'm trying to see. I'm trying to see somebody get yammed on right quick, man.
No, I'm not, man. I can understand that. But yeah, I think that for me, that's what it was. It was I just think a lot of men, especially ones like myself that were in that obesity category. We are more concerned about building the vessel and not understanding that internally. Like I would tell anybody like in a heartbeat. Like I've trained hundreds of people. I'm talking about the results I have are ridiculous. People 100-pound loss, not even like you could imagine it. People walking across the stage, me walking across the stage, all that. But in the midst of that, I was still broken. And that's the reason why the weight was able to be gained again, is because there was really no internal work done. So what happens is, or at least in my circumstances, the vessel, yeah, that's great. But if anything went wrong or how I perceived it to be wrong, it would throw me in this whirlwind. And I always said, if I could figure out how to make my mind as strong as my body, I will be unstoppable. And that's where I'm at now. Working out, eating right, all that, that's simple. That's easy. Getting control of my mind and my thoughts and battling that demon has been the biggest transformation for me, which makes everything very easy when it comes to my vessel. I tell a lot of my clients, if you're not receptive to my message when it comes to how are we going to transform your mind, then I'm not the trainer for you. I don't really care about science will prevail if you just do the right things when it comes to losing weight. It's not, I hate to say it, but it really is simple. Like it's not this overcomplicated thing. But if you cannot control your mind and understand that ego and resistance are going to do their job every single day, which is try to literally sabotage you, then I'm not the person for you. Because I recognize and realize that, like I hate the term haters and I hate the term, oh, people this. And I'm like, your biggest enemy majority of the time is you. It has nothing to do with anyone externally. And if you don't grasp that, then you will be on this hamster wheel of, it's almost like an abusive relationship.
Yes.
But it's with yourself. And for me, I could tell you tons of stories about weight loss, but then I would have to be a man and be honest and tell you stories about the weight gain. And that's the whole point, is that even in the midst of being in some of my greatest shape ever, I would call myself like a functioning alcoholic. I remember my gym at the time. I've owned 2 gyms, and one of them was located right next to a liquor store. And at the end of the night, every night, I get my little bottle of Jack Daniels, get my little ginger ale, mix it up, and just drink my soda or whatever while I'm, headed home. Get up tomorrow and do it the next day. And I begin to realize, like, yo, there's no balance here. Like you're hiding. You're living a double life. Correct. You're teaching X, Y, and Z, but when you leave, you're doing the complete opposite. So for me, it was once I got a grip on my emotional and spiritual intelligence, that's when I think everything changed. That's, like I said before, the body it's really not difficult. But getting control of your mind. I mean, we're 75% of our thoughts on a daily basis are negative. So if you don't recognize that and become aware of it, then you're self-sabotaging almost throughout the day. So one of the things that I tell people and I implore is the same way we do reps when it comes to, I want to get Chris came to me, Chris wants bigger shoulders. All right, cool. I'm going to implement this plan, put it together. We're gonna make it happen. But I need you to understand that the only way your shoulders are going to grow is by reps, yes. Right? So we got to do reps. Yes. And I don't think people understand I tell them I have an 11-year-old and I have I tell her all the time, your brain is nothing, it's just the most complex and beautiful computer ever created, right? So just like we're on these computers now, she loves coding and things like that. It's like if you put in a bad program, it is going to cause a virus in your computer and we're going to have to restart it. We're going to have to get it fixed and reprogram it again. All that's happened with majority of us, especially us, this melanated skin, is the programming is so bad that until you recognize that, and it goes back to what we talked about with our parents. I am a huge advocate, and my mother was amazing. I don't really know my biological father, but I don't blame him for that because the system was designed for him to not be there.
You're right.
Either by incarceration, either by drugs, by death, by you just not knowing your power as a melanated man. I can understand why you at 21 years old were not equipped to deal with a life, bringing a life into this world. So there's no blame. Same thing with my mother. I understand why a lot of that feminine energy could not be executed because you were holding down the masculine role as well because you're trying to raise a boy. So all these things play a major role in my development. Right. So for me, it was kind of like once I just took a step back and just looked at where I am and looked at how this place was designed to keep me a prisoner here.
Yes.
And it was almost designed to teach me, no, I want you to build your body up.
Yeah.
I want you to build your body up. I want you to be I want all that, but I don't really want you to concern yourself with development in any other areas. So again, even with my male clients, and I've had a lot of clients for years and they're like, yo, it's different now because I'm not saying I could care less about the working out. I just understand that I understand in this whole puzzle, it really is the easiest piece to change the vessel. Like it really is. Because you can do it even when you're not where you need to be mentally. But the problem is that's not sustainable because as soon as something breaks you mentally, you're going to revert back to old habits because they're comfortable.
Right.
So for me, it's just about every single day going back to the reps. If I have a thought that is not in alignment with what I'm commanding the universe to do, I immediately, this is what I mean about the reps, I immediately confront it. Like there is a conversation that happens in my mind the second that this thing pops into my head because you're not supposed to be here. However, it's a part of me. And I don't want to eliminate that part. I just want that part to know. It's almost like I tell my child, I don't believe in that angel on the shoulder thing and devil here because I think it's all us, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't look at heaven and hell. I think it's a state of consciousness. I can create heaven on earth every day just by how I think.
Right.
I can create my picture of whatever heaven is. I can do the same thing when it comes to hell. So for me, my thinking is so important. I don't look at it as like, oh, there's a good Jabari and a bad Jabari. No, I look at it as like there's a fat Jabari over there. There's a complacent Jabari over there. There is a procrastinating Jabari over there. There is I can do all things Jabari. Like there's so many. So when there's one that is not, like I said, in alignment to what I believe my ultimate goal or purpose is now, we have to have a conversation immediately.
Right.
Because I need you to know that I am aware of you and you no longer control my thoughts.
Right.
So the same discipline that I executed when it came to physical fitness, I put the same thing into my emotional growth. my spiritual growth. And honestly, that's when working out was always easy,
right?
But it became almost like a burden. Oh, I have to do this because I have to be this way for people, or I have to, whatever. When that switched, it's like I actually enjoy working out now.
Right.
Like
there was a purpose, because like how you're talking about, even with like the mind and the mentality and the reps and the working out, you know, we deal with clients, we deal with people, we deal with different personalities. We're trying to find out what ticks with people, what keeps them pushing, or what's behind you listening to me, what's behind you not listening to me. And yeah, there's not just one answer, right? Just like how you were talking about, you know, good on one side, you know, evil on the other. And I think that's kind of part of the way what you were talking about in regard to the system and how we are, I guess, kind of programmed to think it's an either or system. And for the past like 12 months, I've been trying to subscribe more to the and. Don't subscribe to the or, subscribe to the and. It's and this, you know, I have this thing going on and this. What happens if I do this and this versus this or that? You understand what I'm saying? Because it only leaves you like you have one answer to an outcome. You know, it's not. There's multiple. You know, there's multiple. And once you start subscribing to that, you can understand what it is that you need to do a lot clearer. Now, when you were at your heaviest, or at your heaviest for the second time, what was that moment, you know, where you said, okay, I have to change up here because I can do the physical, but, you know, up here, was there a particular, you know, health scare, crisis, or, you know, was it, hey, I got to do better for my kids now? What was that moment to kind of clarify or sharpen or hone in to what you just finished talking about in regards to correcting that mindset?
I was going to take my life.
I got you.
Like there was no, you know, I had a moment, I had a day. The suicidal visualizations had become so strong. That was like, all right, well, you're either going to do it or you're not. And the reason why you don't is because you're a coward. Like you don't even, like, that's how my brain was. Damn, you don't even want to do this. You're not even strong enough to do this. And I think one day, after reading so much and just listening to so many different things, and, you know, you just, that period of isolation, the beginning of it was very rough because it was like, damn, I'm you know, I'm by myself. It was just the moment of realizing, like, yo, you're either going to take your life or you're going to live your life. Like, so you got to make a decision right now. Like, there is no, I have no idea what's going to happen, but you're either going to be okay with the unknown or just do it, bro. Like, I sat in the bathroom one day. I had razors all around me. I was in it for like 4 hours, and it was like, yeah, I'm going. And I think after that day, it was like I at least started to think. Like, people always complain about what if thinking, right? And I think that's wrong. I think if you're consumed with what if, and it's nothing but negative thoughts and scenarios, obviously there's an issue and we should concern us. We got to work on that. But there's nothing wrong with what if everything goes right. There's nothing wrong if what if I lose this weight. There's nothing wrong is what if I become a millionaire. There's nothing wrong. A big problem what I see with adults is we have allowed life to life and we no longer have imagination.
Yes.
And I'm a huge advocate of that when it comes to my child, because I understand that if you believe and feel things enough, it will happen. The law of attraction is real. And the beauty about an adult is, see, when I talk to an 11-year-old, they can't really formulate a plan to match that imagination. The beauty of being an adult is we have the wherewithal, the means, the mind power, all those things to, okay, I want to accomplish X, Y, and Z. So here's the plan to get me to X, Y, and Z. The problem is we don't we don't use our imaginations anymore because everything has to be practical. Yeah. And again, that is to me a programming that is skewed. What changed for me too, I had to sit back and think to myself, like, yo, when you were 390 pounds or whatever, you used to imagine you would look like you look right now. You used to have that vision from 17 years old. You used to be like, I think I could do this. No one else believes me. No one else, whatever. And it's like, you did it. So once I began to really recognize that, like, yo, you manifested this and you put the plan in action, just like the Bible says, God help those that help themselves. Well, the universe is going to match what I put out. So if I'm putting out this positive energy, this plan, this action-based plan, every single day I'm showing up, I'm only going to attract what I'm doing. Right. And once I begin to recognize that for just other areas of my life, it's the reason why I'm on this podcast. It's the reason why people are now asking me to speak. It's the reason why, because I surrendered, and I always knew that I was meant for more than just training people. But everything had to be stripped away from me for me to be able to, okay, now's the time. So to answer your question even further, what made that last change is that it was either now or never, the way my mind was wired at that time. That will never happen again because I'll never get to that space again because I'm just so aware of my mind now that if anything's off, if there's anything negative that pops in my brain, I promise you, it's almost like an alert goes off because I know how that rabbit hole can go. So we immediately attack it. So for me, it was that day. Listen, either tomorrow, and tomorrow's not going to be any different. You're not going to be thinner. You're not going to be in the mansion. You're going to be in the same situation, but you have to provide a different reality mentally to help you to start moving. And once I did that, like, I post every day my cardio, and today was like day 253. But I remember day 3. And I remember how being someone that has ran 2 marathons and a half marathon to gaining all that weight again and to not being able to run for 30 seconds straight. Yeah. I remember that. So it was like, to be at day 253, that's what I mean. I want people to understand is that you have to, I don't even want to, I hate the term, like, you got to visualize. I don't hate it, but I think a lot of people give a lot of advice without, okay, so what's the practical steps I have to take to make this advice you're giving me, which is good, come to fruition? I'm big on that. That's what social media is to me right now. It's just what I would podcast. Right. There are a lot of broken people with microphones. And what you're doing is you're pandering to those that are just as broken as you. That's why we are in a social media stage of blame and little resolution. Yeah. I look at it when I look at Black men and Black women, particularly. Yes. And it's so disheartening because it's like, you don't see that we're all being played, but that's a whole nother thing. For me, it's just the mind. And I know people don't want to hear it. And I know, and I can understand that, don't think this way and this and the third. You're right. You shouldn't. But I would always rebuttal, well, then tell me what to do. That's why I'm an advocate of finding the right therapist. That's why I'm an advocate of finding the right trainer, because you need a sustainable game plan. I could tell you, so I'm blue in the face, you got to lose some weight, you got the X, Y, and Z, and give you this cookie cutter nonsense. But what makes me stand out is I'm a huge why guy. Right. And I understand that if we get to the why, the how about which we're going to go about doing this is simple. Once we figure out the why. Yeah. Well, why do you keep returning? Why do you lose all this weight, but then you gain it right back? Why do you like X, Y, and Z? And it is because there are unresolved issues internally that you are trying to mask with this vessel. Right. And it's beautiful. You look great. People are enamored. That's awesome. But you can't even sit alone by yourself because you can't stand your thoughts. Right. And that was me. And that was the day. It was like, either you're going to do it, bro, or you're going to attempt, because at first, like, I just want to get back to how I was.
Yeah.
But then once you begin to realize, well, that's not the safest space, because if I was where I was supposed to be then, I wouldn't be here right now.
Yes.
I wasn't thinking the way I was supposed to be thinking before. It just was masked because of all the fitness. I used to work out so.
Are you hungry but only have 30 minutes to meal prep? Then download my new e-cookbook, What to Meal Prep, at successfitnessstore.com. You will get 3 step-by-step written and visual recipes for one high-protein meal that's under 600 calories. I'll help you cook fresh salmon, steam fresh broccoli, and quinoa in under 30 minutes to help you stay on track of your fitness goals. So go to successfitnessstore.com to download your copy today.
Okay, so things do look a little different right now. We had to postpone our podcast. We were in the middle of podcasting, and I actually had something to do as far as my time constraint at that time. So if you're looking at this podcast at this point in time in the podcast and it looks a little different, then that is why. So we're just going to try to pick up where we left off, or just, again, we're just talking. We were talking about his journey, his battle, his the point to where he had to make a decision on how he wanted to move forward with his life. And he chose to discipline himself down and start his fitness journey. Now, on this second time around, in regards to 175 pounds lost, not once, but twice, now you're at this point to where you need to, or you already made your decision on, I need to get my act together. Let me start with my health. Let me start with my nutrition. Let me start with my workout. And you mentioned, because you're an athlete, that working out wasn't really an issue. Now it's, like you said, now it's more the mind now. So tell me how you got that together for this second time around to go on this epic weight loss journey.
I think it was always there. Actually, I'm quite sure that mental fortitude was always there. I think a lot of people, including myself, when you run away from who you naturally truly are for so long, it just, it discombobulates everything up there. So that strength, that fortitude, all those things necessary to allow me to do what I'm doing right now or have done, that was always there. I just think that I was ignoring it. You want to run away from hard work.
You're right. It's so easy to, especially
when hard work in a particular arena is not, it's not comfortable. So, all of the bad things or all of the external hurdles, those things are comfortable. So, and I don't think people understand that it takes discipline to do wrong too. So, all those
you
things
have to commit kind of either way. It's like the same energy. You mentioned earlier in the podcast about, if more or less, if I can do something bad, then I can take that same energy to do something good. Pretty much paraphrasing it. And that is so true, even when it comes down to like effort. And initially, when it comes to effort or discipline, it's the unknown. That's one of the many possibilities that I explore in regards to, hey, why do we why do we dread this so much? Why is it such a daunting task when it comes to discipline? It is the fear of the unknown. And what am I going to feel like when I don't have this crutch? Insert this 2-pound bag of Ruffle chips, or my daily 32-ounce fountain drink from the gas station. Whatever it is, it's like, no, you got to cut that out. You got to cut that drink out. You got to cut those chips out. And it's that, what I interpret it as, it's like that fear of unknown, because it's, all right, you've seen what it's doing. What would it hurt you to see what your body can do, or how you will and won't be affected when you remove said thing? And it's like, we get programmed to thinking that the negative is going to be prevalent. Yeah, there's a chance there, but what about the positive? It's like, I'm not sure if people think about that as much as they do the negative. The moment that you bring that up, everybody looks at you like you're talking crazy, or they want to label you, optimistic. um, religious, spiritual. And it's like, no, I'm just going to look at it in the positive side. You know, it's not 100% negative and it's not 100% positive. It's 100% unknown though, you know? So it's just like, I guess if you're going to choose to fear, is why don't you fear to go towards the positive? Because we all know what it's going to be like from the negative standpoint. Is just how bad. That's the thing. You don't know how bad it can get, you know. But if your life is already kind of like in the dumps at that point, I mean, you have nowhere else to go but up at the point to where it's like, I need to make a decision. I need to change what it is that I'm doing and how I'm going to go forward and discipline myself to make sure this change is continuous. All right. So with that being said, I know you want to focus on your mental, you get that together. Now about your diet, what additional changes did you make to your diet, to your intake, or what did that look like for you?
I mean, I've probably done everything from dieting completely wrong, starvation, intermittent fasting, taking every supplement under the sun, 6 meals a day, calorie counting. So with all that being said, at the end of the day, anyone that wants to lose weight, it's about being in a caloric deficit. So I don't care what your preferred method of like your food methodology is. You just got to make sure that you burn more calories than you take in. So now I try to just focus on a high fat diet, high protein, very minimal carbs. I'm a huge advocate of eggs. So I eat eggs every morning. I mean, I have the same schedule. My breakfast is the same. I only really eat like 2 meals a day, which is my breakfast and my dinner. I don't train weight training wise like I once did, because I don't need to. I'm an endomorph. So I'm naturally muscular. So for me, I focus more on, I run 2 to 3 miles a day. And I do a lot of supersetting. So it's interesting because what I would consider not heavy is still heavy to the average person, but it's not like instead of military.
Run me through one of your supersets. Run me through. I'm curious because I love supersets. The reason why I'm asking. So just
no problem.
Whether you like did tomorrow today or just go ahead.
Tomorrow's shoulders. So
I got you.
After I run, I'll do a 10 down and a 10 up. So what that'll be is 10 push-ups, 10 shoulder presses using the 80-pound dumbbells, and then 10 side lateral raises using the 40s. And I will complete that 10 reps to 1, and then I will work my way back up from 10 reps to from 1 rep to 10. So at the end of the workout, I have done over 100 reps for each of those 3 movements.
Okay.
And how that differs from what I used to do, traditional bodybuilding and the 150-pound dumbbells for shoulders. But there's just no reason, there's no reason to. Fitness for me, I was talking to my client this morning, fitness for me, even how I used to train people, I was very rough. And I thought that everyone had to be me. I couldn't understand why you didn't love this the way I do. And, but at the end of the day.
When I first started. That's how I felt when I first started. I'm like, what?
It makes perfect sense. It's because of where we're coming from. So for me, one of the biggest transitions for me was recognizing that I don't know, if I'm trying to be this positive beacon in this vessel, then I want fitness. I want those that, train with me and work out this, that, and the third. I want them to understand that this is just about enjoying the moment.
When with that being said, did you find I guess in this early stage of say training and personal training, however you want to classify it, and in that moment, what you just said, you said something very interesting of, you want people to, enjoy it more or less. How did you react when you came across some of your first ones who, you ever had a client who literally says out of their mouth, I dread working out, but, I'm here for said goal, I'll do it. I may not love it as opposed to how you may love it. How did you respond to that? Or have you ever ran into anybody like that?
Of course. I think majority of society is going to be their modus operandi, right? Like that's the way that I'm programmed. I'm doing this because it seems cool to do. I want to get ready for this season, whatever. I can't, honestly, when I answer questions from back then, I can't give you a specific answer, but I can definitely tell you that I probably didn't handle it the best. That's what I mean. I didn't even know how to communicate with someone that wasn't in love with this the way that I am. There was no, it was just kind of like, that doesn't make sense to me. Now the difference would be, first of all, you're here. So it doesn't, I understand that that's when that old saying, fake it till you make it comes in. Like I get it. You may not like it right now. It may not feel good, but you're here. So let's celebrate that, because eventually you are going to enjoy being here, and it has nothing to do with me. You're just going to see what it does to your mood, to your day, just how you start things off. So it's not even going to be about me constantly bombarding you or irritating you and asking questions about why you don't enjoy this. It is naturally going to happen. You're going to step into that realm where, damn, it doesn't even matter if I'm training or not, or if he calls me or whatever. Like, I can't wait to be there. So, it's just everybody's time is when it's going to be. And I just want to be, just like any trainer, just be a part of the journey. I take no credit. I don't take credit in that. That is a personal decision. What I am is an equipped professional who has vast experience in programming.
Gotcha.
So you can simply tell me what your goals are, and I've kind of walked every fitness genre. From bodybuilding to CrossFit, and I mean competitively, like I've walked across the stage. I'm doing it again next year. CrossFit, I damn near made it to the regionals. I did a ton of shows, competitions, strongman. Like, I kind of, again, because of just my natural strength. Even when I boxed for a little bit, and I remember my coach at the time when I was in college, he was just like, I didn't even know what this term meant, because you have a natural right hand. And after understanding what that meant, he's just like, yo, you don't have to throw your hand hard. Like, it's naturally going to be effective. You can kind of relax. Like, you don't have to punch hard. Right. So once I realized that I was strong, it was like, all right. And being strong was cool, but I definitely, at 42, I definitely have, residual effects from all of that lifting on my joints. I can be honest about that. Yeah. Because what I wasn't focused on was mobility and flexibility, things that I'm more concerned with now. So, just my whole take on fitness, as far as me personally, is just very different.
I get it. And that's the joy in talking to you and talking to different trainers, as everybody has a different approach, but we're all centered in at least helping people, right? In one form or another. Now, whether initially we knew that, or, initially, if we communicated that in the best way or not, I think that's two different things. It's like, no, I'm trying to help you, but you're not listening. That's how I was when I first started. That's why I asked you. And it's like this realization of, it's like, man, I gotta back up a little bit. I have to learn.
Now let me ask you a question, because I just correlate everything. It's all a puzzle. So to me, I was the same way, especially with male clients. Yeah, I definitely could not understand. Yeah. I couldn't get it. Yeah. But what that means is, so every struggle that I had communicating with clients, I had the same struggles communicating in my personal life. Yes. So again, outside of the gym, my communication skills needed to be worked on. Yeah. And once that took place, it's not even that I became a better trainer, I just became a better communicator, period. Yeah. Because ultimately in the gym or out, I'm trying to convey my message to anyone. So I can't get upset if said person does not adhere to what it is that I'm trying to convey. So to me, I think a lot of trainers fall into that situation right there. I'm trying to help you, you're not listening. It could be like, all right, I may not be listening, but the way you are talking to me, is
Yeah.
most certainly not helping me want
Yeah,
to.
for sure.
You know what I mean? So for me, I just became better at everything once I worked on myself.
Right.
And what I'm realizing and watching now is certain people aren't even coming into my presence that are just not supposed to be there.
Right.
Because I'm looking for, if I'm a mirror, then I'm looking for the exact same things in you. So, you know, you can tell if someone can't communicate effectively damn near from that first conversation.
Right.
I no longer chase that. Once I realize that, I'm good, I'm out, I'm straight. I'm definitely not the person to work with you because we can't even speak to one another.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think I just became better at my career once I just became a better version of myself. So
Right. Right. And like you talked about how it parallels into your personal life. And once you learn how to, you know, communicate better, I looked at it from an entire, let's say, macro standpoint of honing on to your point is once I get better here in my life, I can articulate better with my clients. And then it worked all in tandem too, for me too, because it's like, okay, you know, I can't talk to this person like I can talk to my people back at home, you know, so what's going on there?
What's up,
Each
Jazzy?
person is different, you know, each person is just different, you know, and this learning how to do that, learning how to come in and out of certain situations or communication bubbles. That's what I call them. You know, you can talk to this client this way, you talk to that client that way. And how can I get this client to execute said movement the best way? Maybe they're not executing the movement right because I'm not communicating it right. You know, certain cue points you and I know, and they work with different people. So that helped me come home, talk to my family better, you know, and it's like, okay, maybe I didn't say what I thought I said, you know, or what I wanted to say, or my expectations for them to do something if I didn't articulate it out of here. You know what I mean? And like you said, in regards to, you know, other personal trainers may fall into that is one of the reasons why we're on this podcast right now. I started all this off even before personal training with just blogging, just writing down what I was going through at the time in regards to my weight loss, what was going through in my head, all that jazz. And to a point to where I got tired of autocorrect just messing me up. You know what I mean? I'm like, you know, I need to talk. And then that transition and transformed to me interviewing more people like you and asking them, hey, what did you go through on your weight loss journey? And then some have become personal trainers, some become, you know, something else or whatever the case may be. But either way, we all have similarities and we all have, you know, differences. You know, I learn from everybody, but it is communication. It is communication and this expectation for yourself too. You know, we have these, I would say almost like external values where we're trying to uphold ourselves for other people, to other people for whatever said result, but we don't hold ourselves to that. And going through this weight loss journey that you went through, how did that help you uphold that to yourself in regards to, let me honor my word to myself. I said I want to step out and, you know, accomplish this, you know, lose this weight or whatever. How did that keep you intact in chasing that goal?
Simply put, I said it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to try to dive too deep into that. I said it.
Tilt your camera down a little bit. Can you tilt it down a little bit? I just want to make sure.
Is that good?
Yep.
See, simply put, I said it. I said it. And if I said it to myself, then I'm just going to do it. So a route was established. A route was established very early. So just like in someone's religious journey or spiritual journey, you know, when you're programmed young enough, certain things stick. So for me, I think I just learned sustainable. I think I just saw what I could do very early physically. So I never really worried about if I fall off getting back, because it's like the one thing that I'm proof positive that I can do. The goal was always to feel that much conviction with everything outside of fitness, primarily getting my mind correct,
Gotcha.
controlling my thoughts. So once I did that, so I call myself a recovering negative thinker or a recovering pessimist because, like I mentioned prior, 75% of our thoughts are negative. So you've got to work your brain out the same way you do your body. And
right.
That's
now,
the
what
biggest
tools did you use to like help you, in that? Were there any like self-help books, spirituality? What were, if it's one or if it's multiple things outside of working out, or maybe that was it. Let me not omit that. What were some of the things that helped you just get you right back in the head?
I don't think I was ever right. That's what I think majority of people's issues. That was my issue. I was never right. I was programmed to what the world or how the world wanted me to think, from my choices to, so I was never right. Getting right was unplugging myself from the matrix. Like,
yeah,
what I mean? I think everyone's getting right. Well, getting right to me was trying to get closer to the creator, was trying to get closer to, and I don't say God, I'm talking about that abundant energy that is around us, which is God to me. Everyone is trying to get to a Christ-like when it comes to thinking, if you want to use that word. So to me, that's just a very high level of consciousness. And that's operating from a place of love, of kindness, of just more of a pure, innate, what I was born with. And that's just to be a kind vessel, a loving individual. And I think once I began to do that to myself, I think a lot of men, especially Black men, we don't really know how to love ourselves, but are expected to love a woman or a child or parents or be a spouse. But yet we have not taken the time to develop those things in ourselves. So for me, what changed was that we're going to do the complete opposite of what we've been doing. So you've been very hard on yourself for a very long time. We're going to alleviate that. You're going to love yourself the same way you've loved women in the past. You're going to love yourself the same way you love your children. You're going to love yourself the same way that you want others to love you. And once I did that, and I fell in love with myself, everything now, I'm just operating at such a high vibration that that's what changed. What changed was, like I said, there was always a root. I grew up in a very religious household. My stepfather is a pastor. My mother's a first lady. So even though I don't call these things the same things they do, even though I don't look at the Bible the same way they do, the thing that always resonates with my parents is I saw a level of faith in something that was bigger than themselves. So my confliction was always being honest about, well, what do I think that bigger thing is? And I think just being brutally honest with yourself, the truth does set you free. So once I begin to be truthful about who I am, and everybody talks about this inner child thing. Well, I really went on a voyage to try to figure out, at what age did you begin to have abandonment issues? At what age did you begin to lean on food for comfort? Like, it was a journey. It is a journey. And with that being said, what's happening with me now as a trainer is I'm not just attracting people that want to get physically fit. I am now attracting people that are like, I need to work on my life. I need to work on the way that I think. I need to work on being more positive on a daily basis. And I think a lot of people are great at motivation. I think a lot of people, I think that's beautiful. But what I'm recognizing and realizing is that with that motivation, there's no sustainable steps of how do I change myself in this cognitive behavior that I've been dealing with. Right. And I'm not a therapist, but I've gone to therapy a lot. And you asked what helped. It was therapy. And I didn't even necessarily receive the jewels at the time when I was going through these things, these messages would download later on, but that's just the power of the subconscious. I heard it, but at the time it didn't resonate. I couldn't even really fathom, what are you talking about cognitive behavior? Like, what do you really mean? And then once I understood that, that's why I know that someone's vessel actually losing body fat, this, that, and the third, is a byproduct of getting your mind right first. So I don't even really stress those that I work with like I used to. I don't stress them out when it comes to the physical fitness aspect of this. Think about it realistically. There's 24 hours in a day and I see you for one.
Right.
That's 23 hours of you being alone with your thoughts. If those are not in control, if you do not recognize what's going on and pinpoint the resistance, it will sabotage whatever we're trying to do to the vessel. So to me, I need anyone that I work with to be so tuned in with how they think. That's kind of how I know who I'm supposed to work with and who I'm not. If you're not just as committed, if you're just not committed at this point to strengthening your mind, I could really care less about helping you get your body right. Because I understand that you don't control your thoughts. So I know that as soon as perceived stressors come along, that can derail anything that we've done physically. So what helped me was just recognizing and understanding the magnitude of my mind. And if my imagination can conjure up some of the most diabolical, disastrous situations, then why can't it do the same when it comes to abundance? Correct. And just seeing that I could have anything I want, just use that imagination for that. So yeah, once I think I painted the picture of everything, conversations like this, the whole 9 yard, and now they're coming to fruition. So I'm very aware, just to answer your question, I'm very aware of what I think. So that's the biggest change. That's the biggest change, awareness and discernment. I think a lot of times people have these thoughts, you run from them, try to ignore them, whatever. Me, like I said before, if anything that is not in alignment with how I am collectively thinking, it immediately is a red flag, it's out of place, and we confront it. And I do this all day to the point where I've never been able to sit still and be like, oh, I'm not thinking about anything.
Right.
That happens a lot now. That's how I know that I'm in control of my mind. Because that's what negative thoughts do. People are always like, it came out of nowhere. I know. So every time it comes out of nowhere, you meet it head on. Eventually, it's going to stop coming. Right. So I am very aware of what I think. I'm aware of what I think. I'm aware of what I say. I'm extremely aware of that. And that seems to, like I said, how you do one thing is how you do everything else. So it seems to just seep out into every other area of my life. Just awareness. Awareness is key. Awareness is key.
Awareness is key. So when you lost the 175 pounds again for the second time, what was going through your head when you hit that goal? Was it like a proud moment, or was it just something just so happened to be when you looked on the scales like, okay, this has been a total of 175 again?
I don't even know if it was a proudness. I think it just turns into kind of like, this is what I do, and that's not good. Yeah. It's even I think about when I played college football. When I watch these kids now, I'm not even upset that I'm not playing football. I miss the smell of the grass. I miss sitting on the sideline with my teammates that we blowing somebody out, like talking, like I miss being in the moment. So to answer that question, I wish I would have just, at those times, I wish I could sit here and tell you how I appreciated it more than I actually did. Now, it's very different. Now, every workout, every run, every push-up, every press, everything, I'm so thankful for it now that I can't wait to be giving it's like I already see myself winning first place in my competition. And I can't wait to say that while I was preparing for this show, I literally, damn near every beat of sweat, every song I played, everything was with intention. And because everything was with intention, I felt the power of the moment. There's times now when I work out and I have chills. I get goosebumps because it's just like, yo, this is a blessing. This is not a game. Like, this is, you are blessed to be awake, to be on this treadmill, to run. I give praise to the universe. I'm so grateful for that opportunity every single day. It is, man, it is the ultimate medicine for me. So I can answer that question better now, how I feel now. I'm just extremely appreciative, and I look forward to the journey every single day. I look forward to the journey every day.
Now, with that being said, what lessons did you learn that you can share with the viewer, the listener who's watching this right now, and who are on the fence about starting their weight loss journey or fitness journey, however that looks? What advice would you give them?
What advice would I give them to get started?
Yes. You know how you got some people kind of on the fence. It's like, I don't know. You know, based off of what you learned from your weight loss journey, everything that we've talked about, what advice could you give them in regards to if somebody's on the fence about starting their fitness journey?
I think that's one of the things that changed. I don't think I have any advice, because that really that's a personal decision. What could happen is I can motivate you and inspire you to get off the fence, but there are no cognitive behavioral skill changes there. You didn't learn anything. So as soon as resistance shows its face, there's a chance you are going to backslide. So my advice would be, you got to get real with yourself. Now, once you decide, no matter what you tell yourself, you're going to stick to this, then we could talk. Because your biggest detractor and your biggest saboteur is going to be yourself. Like I tell my oldest daughter all the time, listen, I don't believe in this angel and the devil thing. I don't. Mm-hmm. What I think there's a whole bunch of you inside of here. Mm-hmm. And ultimately, they're the ones that are trying to distract you from your essence, your natural being. Well, those are the enemy. And you're going to have to fight those on your own. Daddy can't do anything about that. Like, that is you and your mind. So choices and awareness and hopefully your upbringing play a major role in that. It's the same thing when it comes to someone that wants to lose weight, or, you know, I got an X, Y, and Z. You can listen to as much motivation as you want. You can talk to the dopest trainers. You could watch the illest videos. You could watch the dopest podcast. You could do all the things necessary. But as soon as that dominant voice in your head, and if it's a negative one, tells you to cut this shit out because it is not worth it, you're going to listen to it. So you got to battle yourself first. And once you do that, because there's a battle even deciding that I'm all in. But once you make that decision, my advice would be to remember that decision. Because until you get to, and you may not ever get to, look at a David Goggins. Everyone will wonder, well, why is he? I know exactly why he is the way he is. Because the demons that he's running from, which are internal, are his to fight. Yeah. And that's it. It's a personal decision. This man can care less what you think about him, and that's what it all comes down to. When someone, that's why I hate the term haters, and everything is external. Listen, man, your biggest hater is the one that's between those two ears. Yeah. And until you battle that monster, all the advice in the world means nothing. So my advice would be, don't listen to advice. My advice would be to go into your prayer closet or go into that mirror and really have a heart-to-heart with the version of yourself that you are no longer happy with. Just think about it like Jim Carrey said, we're avatars. And the majority of depression comes, unless there's a chemical imbalance and there is a serious issue. A lot of depression comes because I don't want to play this character anymore. Yeah. So if you're walking around in this fat suit, because that's what I call them, they're nothing but fat suits. Yeah, eventually, just like, I don't want to wear this suit anymore. Okay, I understand. but you are going to have to go through hell to get it off. And it's hell because it's not a comfortable place for you. But once you get it off, I mean, that's a whole nother, we could have a whole nother conversation about that. Once you get it off, then we good. But, you know, you gotta really sit with yourself prior. And once you do that, I think all things glorious will happen. Just by showing up. The journey. I mean, we've heard all this stuff before, but it's the truth. It's not the destination. It's the getting up, getting dressed, going, the eating right, the making decisions. It's like that's the stuff that people want to know about. That's the stuff that's going to make you feel invincible. That's the superpower. And that's operating from a place of belief, a place of love, a place of compassion, a place of kindness. And you're doing that to yourself. So yeah, the vessel's changing, but you're also loving yourself. And that in turn is just going to make you attract those that need you. And that's how I feel about myself. Like, because of how I trained at one point, because of how I posted in content, I was attracting certain things that were in alignment with that. And those were not the best things for my authentic self. Right. Now I'm getting more inquiries about training than I ever did. And I don't even post workouts anymore. Yeah. So it's interesting to watch the shift, the pivot, even when you were nervous about it, but that's the faith and that's the moving with intention. So for me, if I had to give someone a piece of advice, it would still be in alignment with what I just said. Be intentional. Even if you're not going to do it, be honest about that. Look, it's not the time. I'm not ready. Yeah. I don't want to start this. I don't want to start this and stop this again. I'm not ready. But when you are ready, move. That's that would be my piece of advice. When you've had that talk with yourself and that conviction is real and it's time, go. Move. Don't think about it. Get dressed. Go work out. Don't think about it. Eat the right thing. When you feel that like it's time, it's time. But, you know, until then, like I said, that's why there are some really wealthy preachers and things of that nature, because there's profit in pain. Yeah. So, you know, if you're going to continue, I've been telling you the secret for a minute, but you haven't had that real talk with yourself. So you keep coming back for more, and I'm going to keep feeding it to you, but you know what I mean? You're going to keep paying this money to go see these speakers, and you're going to keep paying this money to go. Everybody kind of is saying the same message with their twist. This all starts within. And until you're willing to go within, you're going to go without. And so for me, everything changed for me when I did the dirty work, when I did all the heavy lifting internally. So
go within or go without. You heard it right here from Mr. Jabari Nelson. Let everybody know where they can contact you at. Website, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. And either way, I'll have his Instagram app right here on the podcast and the graphic once we finished editing in post. But let everybody know where they can contact you at.
Nah, man, I honestly, the only social media that I use is Instagram. So it will be obesity _2 to obsession. My email, alwaysbelievefit@gmail.com. Shoot me a DM. I try to answer as many questions as I can. I love talking about this. I think it's important. I think it's really important. Our country we have a lot of issues, and obesity is definitely one of them, especially amongst my melanated people. And that's really, really important to me. So, I'm all about trying to break as many generational curses as I possibly can. And we have plenty. So, yeah, you can reach me at Instagram, obesity to obsession.
We'll have his information again right here on the graphic and also in the show notes. And this brings us to the end of another episode of the Success Fitness Podcast. And I would love for you to sign up to my weekly newsletter, the Success Fitness Newsletter. You'll get access to my free Facebook group, Success Fitness Family. We post workout videos, workout motivation, inspiration, and all that jazz. You can click the link in the description or in the show notes, and it leads you right to the sign up to my newsletter. And I want to give a big special thanks and shout out to Jabari. Again, this is a 2-part podcast. I'm really thinking about right now at this moment in time is just releasing this on 2 parts because it's that much information and I don't want to overwhelm anybody with everything all at once. So we're probably going to split this up, but I thank him for being so flexible. Full transparency. We were supposed to meet like 2 days ago and I legit lost track of time. I felt horrible. But he's a champ, professional, and I appreciate you. I appreciate all the work you're doing, all the work you have done for yourself and others. I wish you first place and many first place placements in your competition. And when will that be? You said sometime next year?
I got the flight. I think it's like May 2024.
Okay. And what is it exactly? Because I don't really keep up with too much of that stuff, but there's who do keep up.
I'll put out more information, but it's not even so much of a bodybuilding competition. It's about a transformation competition. So
gotcha.
I love that idea. I love that idea. I've done the bodybuilding ones before, but I love the fact of just those that have had a transformation may not be, the most aesthetically whatever when it comes to a stage.
Right. Yeah.
I love that they did that for them, and I'm doing
that's important.
I'm doing it to show the before and afters that I have. I don't want to take away from anyone. I'll say that, but I feel like it's important for me to do this too because I walk that path as well.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And I just know what I'm bringing to the stage, so I just hope that everyone is working their tails off because I most certainly am.
Yes, sir. I'm rooting for you, and hopefully listeners and your followers will too. And remember, if it's not making you stronger, simply chant more weight, more weight, more weight. Peace out.